Kentucky's putting in work on the recruiting trail, securing what could end up being two crucial, and I mean crucial, visits.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, I'm going to be talking about two different players, one of which already took an official visit earlier this week, one of which is taking an OV this weekend, and they both might end up being two crucial, and I mean crucial visits for the Kentucky Wildcats, because as far as I can tell, both these guys would be perfect additions for Mark Pope and his team next season. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. I want to remind everyone out there that we are free and available on all platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the show. And if you are listening on podcast, I would also appreciate it if you subscribe there as well. We are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers before the start of the college basketball season. So I would love it, and I really do mean that, if you would join up. All right, we've got two recruits to talk about today on the docket. One of them has already taken an OV. Another is taking one this weekend. And the first guy we're going to talk about here took an official visit yesterday. He's one of the best international prospects in the game, and that is Seyan Kaida. I have seen some people say Keita or Keita. I believe it is pronounced Kaida because every time I have watched a highlight of this kid, they will barely include a snippet of someone about to pronounce the word Kaida before they abruptly cut to the next play. I tried for like 20 minutes to go find this kid's last name, and then I finally found some footage where the play-by-play announcer says Kaida whenever Seyan goes to make an incredible play in his highlight reel, because man, oh man, this kid is insane. According to KSR, this is considered to be Kaida is one of the top international prospects in the 2027 cycle. I don't know if he's interested in reclassifying, but I think that he could possibly make a fine addition to Mark Pope's squad. He's actually in the middle of multiple visits to multiple college programs back to back. According to KSR, he is visiting 6 schools in 6 days. It started earlier this week on Monday with a trip to Kansas. Then he went to Indiana on Tuesday. He spent Wednesday at Kentucky, and then he is going to take visits to Duke and North Carolina and UConn through the 31st to the 2nd. He currently plays for FC Barcelona in Spain, or Barcelona. I don't know how you properly pronounce it. He is a member, according to KSR, of the 2027 recruiting class right now, but he could possibly move up to the 2026. I'd like to see him reclassify because, again, I think this kid could be freaking awesome on next year's team. He is just 17 years old, and he's a 7-footer. And if you go and watch this kid's tape, which I would encourage you to do so, you're going to very quickly see why I started talking today. I started today's episode talking about how crucial these visits could be, because Kaida is insane. He's a freak. First and foremost, good night. This kid is an incredible shot blocker. I mean, it's just swat after swat after swat after swat. He is an incredible defensive prospect with his length and then his energy. The first note that I had written down on this kid when I was watching him in a coffee shop the other day, he is active, and I mean active, on both ends of the floor. Super energetic, all over the place, clearly wants to be out there and is trying his hardest to make an impact. And guys, he's making an impact, all right. The kid is physical on the low block when it comes to defending the rim, and when it comes to working in the post, this kid will jam over your head. He will swat that thing up against the backboard. I love it. I love the way that this kid plays. He plays like he's got something on the line. It plays like he's got his freaking life on the line, which considering how his college and NBA career might go, I mean, this could be something. He could be special. I mean, this kid could really be something at the next level. Maybe a little bit of wasted movement on the offensive end. I wrote that down, but man, I'd rather have a 5 that gives a crap than one that doesn't. I love the way that this kid plays. I am just infatuated with just the energy that he brings, game in and game out, it seems. for FC Barcelona, and then the other circuits that he's been on. Third note that I wrote down. No human being, and I mean no human being, should be able to move like Seyan Kaida does at 7 feet tall. Like that, it should not be possible to be at some time so incredibly coordinated and well-timed with how you execute, again, on both ends of the floor. It should not be possible. It is very possible. Kaida, we don't have great stats on him right now, as far as things that I could provide you for what he's done, like with Barcelona. But what we do have is a couple of camps that he's been to. This, again, is courtesy of KSR. He joined an MBPA Top 100 camp and was the defensive MVP of the camp. Kaida posted per-game averages, again, courtesy of KSR, per-game averages of 13 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks on, get this, 67.5% shooting at the camp. 13.5 and 3.2 while shooting almost 68% from the floor. He also played in the NBA Academy games earlier in the summer over in Atlanta, where he averaged 13.2 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game. Kentucky's coaches were in attendance for both events. I should know. Double-double with 4 blocks per game. My friends are going to like that one. I'll get them a better screenshot. 4 likes per game, or 4 blocks per game. I want to be careful with my wording here. I would love to see a front court with Tyran Stokes and Seyan Kaida, because I know they'd be incredibly young as freshmen, and they'd probably both be one-and-done type guys. Kaida may be here for multiple seasons. I think it would day one be the best front court in the SEC. This kid is that good. I'm not trying to hype this up for the YouTube channel. I'm not trying to hype this up for the podcast. I'm not trying to get clipped here. I genuinely believe that this kid's ceiling is through the freaking roof. This kid could be special with his ability to block shots, his energy on the offensive glass, his ability to dunk over just about anybody. He's got some really nice post moves. If he continues to polish that, Mark Pope can make him into a distributor day freaking one. Great mobility. Great mobility for a 7-footer. There's so much upside here as a paint player. But putting him with Mark Pope could make him into something incredibly unique because of what we can do for him vision-wise. Because he's already got a good handle with either hand. He's good on the catch. This kid's great. This kid is incredible. He is a dangerous lob threat. You're going to see that countless times over his tape. I want to be careful with how I talk about next year's roster, because I don't know who's going to be here at the 5. Jaden Quaintance is probably going to be gone. What happens with Brandon Garrison will be interesting. I expect Malachi Marino to be here. I don't know if Reese Potter's going to be here still. I'd expect why not. We've got 15 scholarships. If you could get this kid at your school, it would be incredible. No wonder the best college programs are going after him. I see a lot of potential in this guy. Uber talented, so much upside. Kid could be special. No wonder he's a top international prospect. Seyan Kaida, I believe, is how you pronounce his name. Again, I'm saying Kaida instead of Keita or Keita because of what I've heard from the play-by-play announcers who are actually calling the games. I would assume that they know what they're talking about. All right, so we've talked about Kaida. We're going to talk about a guy that we've already discussed quite a bit here on the show that I also think would be, as we stated in the previous YouTube video, a perfect addition for the Wildcats at point guard. Before we dive into that, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Drip Drop. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, Hydration is where it all starts, and that's where Drip Drop comes in here. When I'm on top of my hydration, I notice literally everything feels and works better. My energy, my mood, my focus, even my skin. But getting enough fluids every single day isn't always easy. It's a struggle that I have, and that's why I've been loving Drip Drop, because Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven drink for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. I personally am a big, hey, let's go and walk 5 miles a day every day kind of guy. I love walking downtown in my city, and I literally do not leave the house. I will come back if I forget it without Drip Drop mixed in with one of my shakers so I can bring it with me to stay hydrated on that walk, because the summer heat is blistering right now, y'all. There is no better mix on the market right now than Drip Drop. It tastes great. The flavors are incredible, and it is what I use daily. This is not a bit. I use this every single day if I want to stay active. And also at the same time, part of my work here for Locked On is overnight. I try and stay energized and focused. Don't really want to go to the caffeine at 2 a.m., but usually if you want to get a little bit of a boost, you go to the electrolytes. Drip Drop provides that. This is the place to go if you need to replenish hydration, if you want to help yourself stay more energized and focused. Right now, you can go to Drip Drop because they are offering Locked On listeners 20% off their first order. Head to dripdrop.com. You can use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. That is dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 20% off. You need to stock up now for the heat hits hard. All right, continuing along here on the Thursday edition of Locked On Kentucky. Lance Dawe hanging out here with you. I'm actually about to take a drink of Drip Drop here as we continue along, breaking down stuff on Locked On Kentucky. This is not the first time I've been on the show drinking electrolytes here, courtesy of Drip Drop. Actually, I would be shocked if there are not multiple episodes, probably live streams after games, where I have like mixed together some water with Drip Drop to try and stay energized through the course of one of these shows, because games are draining. You guys know that. Also, random side note, off the tangent, talking about our sponsor here. Do any of you, this is going to be weird. Do any of you guys, and I mean literally any of you in the comments, you don't have to say no. You just tell me yes if you do. Do you play Balatro? Do you play a game called Balatro? It's a card game on your phone or your computer. I cannot stop playing this. I was about to record another show, and I got lost playing it for 45 minutes just a little bit ago. I was like, all right, cool. I've recorded one. I'm going to get to the other, and I got lost. I got lost in it. Sometimes you need to pull out a banana and a calculator and just absolutely crush hand after hand. It's a fun game. I don't know. If any of you play it, let me know. I can't stop playing it. It is an addiction unlike any other right now in the Dawe household. Anyway, back to recruiting, as we should be talking about here on Locked On Kentucky. I'm actually going to take another sip. This is the most unhinged show I've done so far. I gassed up a player that probably none of you have heard of, that's taking some major visits that I think could be incredible. Now we're going to talk about another player that I think could be perfect for the Cats next season. That is Darren Rippey Jr. Guys, he's taking an official visit. If 24/7 Sports doesn't even have the freaking update for this yet, I don't think. Oh, wait, no, they do. He's taking an official visit this weekend, starting August 1st. This is probably going up on the 1st. Starting today, a 5-star point guard is on campus in Lexington over at Kentucky. We talked about him on the previous episode. Let's break it down here again. The thing that I'm looking for next year's roster, if Kentucky gets Stokes, if they don't, this is a priority. They need another true point guard, in their backcourt. Jalen Lowe, if he comes back, and I'd expect him to. Right now, I would. They need some defense. They need two-way ability, and they need it from a true pure one. Not some combo guard that you can flash down to the two, somebody that is true to their position and can play there comfortably. behind preferably Jalen Lowe for a season. Rippy provides that. This is all scouts talk about. He is known as a two-way guard. He always has been and will be at the college level. He impacts the game just as much as he does defensively as he does offensively. And the thing about his offense is that he's had some issues efficiency-wise shooting, at least early in his career, as far as scouts have said. It was once considered a liability, according to Adam Finkelstein, but earlier this year during, I think, an EYBL circuit, he shot 10 of 23 from three. There are some moments where he could assert himself more, where he could be more aggressive at the point. But the two things that he is bringing to the table that Kentucky, I think, would desperately love to have from their backup point guard next season is defensive ability, defensive strength, and athleticism. You would love to have somebody that can get up above the rim and dunk on somebody's head and then play a little defense the other way. The comp that I currently have to this kid, and I don't necessarily know if this is perfect, but as far as being known as a good on-ball defender, and then also somebody that's got some length, a nice, like a solid wingspan at 6'2", that's going to play the point, Davion Mitchell, for those of you who have been watching college basketball for a hot minute, maybe I don't know where he is in the NBA right now. I think he's in Miami. Previously at Auburn, then transferred, won a national title at Baylor, was a great defender, at least tabbed as a great defender coming out of high school, showed that early in his career at Auburn, was not an efficient three-point shooter, but he played above the rim at times, and he was a really good defender. That is my comp, is Davion Mitchell. And Davion Mitchell did a lot of really good... You go back and watch that Baylor title run, and just like, I'll just go ahead and say it. I watched this kid develop through college and like a little bit of high school before he got to Baylor. To watch him become the offensive player that he was at Baylor during those final couple of years or so, or however long he was there, winning that title, scoring the way that he did on that run, somebody like Rippy 1,000% has that in the arsenal to develop into somebody like that. That's my comp for it. Blair Academy out of Blairstown, New Jersey. Number 16 overall prospect, number 2 point guard, number 1 player in the state of New Jersey, taking an official visit this weekend. Kaida and Rippy, I think both these guys, awesome names, by the way. I think both these guys would be great for Kentucky next season just because of how they would fit in. I said it on the previous episode. I'll reiterate it here. Kentucky needs a guy at the 5 next season when Quaintance leaves that can protect the freaking rim, whether it's Garrison, Marino, Reese Potter, who have you, or if it's somebody like Kaida. You need someone who can bring some defense. You cannot find yourself in a lull next year after you have whatever it is this year with JQ. You can't go right back to, okay, we're just going to play kind of defense. We got to be able to stop the ball. We got to be able to stop them from scoring at the rim consistently. That is my big thing for Kentucky. Defense. You can get it from Kaida. You can get it from Rippy, and they have insane upside. I think both in their own ways developing out to the college ranks. Love what I see from both these prospects. I'm so excited that Kentucky's getting them both on campus. In the wrap for the show here, I've got it on the wrong hand. I've got it on the YouTube video here on the notes. The recruiting high that Kentucky is on. The more I think about it, the more I expect for there not to be, as of right now, I don't expect Kentucky to have like an insane transfer portal class next season. And depending on how things go, I don't necessarily expect them to have a big recruiting class either. Right now, we're riding the high of like Tyran Stokes is interested in Kentucky. Darren Rippey's taking a visit. Kaida's taking a visit. We've got all these visits scheduled from all these different guards and wings that are going to be here over the next few months. It's awesome. We're actually getting guys on campus, and we're going to be able to pitch them Kentucky. Whatever Kentucky does, my guess is just because of how many guys they have coming back, they're going to be able to kind of consolidate and then add just a couple of pieces to the roster instead of making an entirely new one like Mark Pope has kind of had to do for 2 seasons now, which is where you want to be. It's where UConn was whenever they won their titles. It's where you want to be here. Perfect. I'm excited. I think that this is a high. If you can get Rippey and Stokes and Kaida, you get all three of those freshmen to rock with your senior at the 5 in Garrison, with your senior at power forward and Diabate, and a rising sophomore in Yelovich, who goodness knows what he could become. Hawthorne is taking a step forward. Cam Williams and Noah will be juniors. You've got Jasper Johnson and Colin Chandler at shooting guard. And then you can have Rippey and Lowe. I mean, that's a great freaking team, y'all. That's a really good team with some legitimate length across the board and some crazy athleticism to boot. With the offensive system that Pope has, they'll be scoring bunches and they'll have a chance to be able to get some stops on the other end as well. Who knows? We'll see how it pans out. If you can't get any of these guys that we're talking about here, more or less, I don't think that's the end of the world, but you got to be able to go out and get people, man. You got to be able to go out and get people that fit what you want to do. As good as Jason Crow Jr. is, and I think he's going to be great for Missouri, doesn't exactly fit what Kentucky wants. At least I don't think. So, see if you can find guys that do. And by the way, that's not me saying Crow's bad or he would have been bad here. It's just I don't think he would have fit the mold perfectly as far as what Kentucky wants out of their offense. So that's my thought on that. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. You can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. Follow me on Twitter at Lansdale_. Follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I'll see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And of course, God bless.